Ministry of Agriculture employee shot dead in East Ruimveldt. Royston Drake's production reports. A Ministry of Agriculture employee was shot and killed on Thursday night in East Ruimveldt, according to family members. The victim has been identified as Gavin Major, a resident of Charles Street, Charlestown. Police sources indicate that the suspect fled the scene and remains at large. Investigators have not yet disclosed details about the circumstances surrounding the shooting, and authorities are actively searching for the gunman. The incident has raised concerns within the community, as residents seek answers regarding the motive behind the attack. This is a developing story, and further updates will be provided as more information becomes available. Rickford Burke questions integrity of vote recount process. In a public statement, Rickford Burke has raised concerns regarding the integrity of the ongoing vote recount process conducted by the Guyana Elections Commission, GECOM. In a recent statement directed at GECOM, political parties, and election observers, Burke questioned the effectiveness of the recount if it does not include cross-referencing votes against the official voters list. What is the purpose of the recount if you are only counting votes and not cross-referencing it against the voters list? Burke stated, labeling the current approach as madness. He emphasized that for the recount to be meaningful, it must verify that individuals who voted are appropriately marked off the official list of electors, OLE, and that the ballots correspond with the ballot stubs and the number of voters. Burke's comments highlight ongoing concerns about the electoral process as stakeholders continue to seek transparency and credibility in the recount. Former Mayor Ubridge Noreen criticizes election process and calls for unity. Ubridge Noreen, former mayor of the city of Georgetown, has voiced strong criticism of the recurring issues surrounding the general and regional elections in Guyana. In a recent statement, he condemned the lack of progress in maintaining a free and fair electoral process, which he believes the Guyana Elections Commission, GECOM, is constitutionally obligated to protect. It is shameful as a country that every 5 years we are forced to endure the same nonsense, Noreen remarked, emphasizing the need for consensus among political parties. He expressed concern that GECOM's accreditation of organizations, such as the Private Sector Commission, which he claims are aligned with the ruling People's Progressive Party, PPP, undermines the integrity of the electoral process. This is a betrayal of the people's trust, he stated, accusing GECOM of complacency in its duty to safeguard democracy. Noreen also highlighted the responsibility of political parties to confront what he termed the PPP's rigging machinery. He criticized the current political landscape, asserting that the PPP prioritizes power over the welfare of the citizens. To reclaim electoral integrity, Noreen called for a grassroots approach to campaigning, emphasizing the importance of people-oriented leadership and strategic commitment. Politics is about making your enemies your friends, he noted, urging politicians to adopt a more collaborative mindset. Concluding his statement, Noreen encouraged acceptance of the election results with dignity and a renewed determination to unite for the future of the country. May God bless our beloved, beautiful country, he added. Forward Guyana movement demands urgent probe into ballot box tampering. The Forward Guyana movement is calling for an immediate investigation into allegations of ballot box tampering following a press release from the Guyana Elections Commission, GECOM, on September 4th. The movement expressed concern over GECOM's response, which they claimed deflected attention from video evidence showing improper handling of ballot boxes. In a statement, Amanza Walton-Desser, representing the movement, criticized GECOM for attacking the individual who filmed the footage instead of addressing the serious allegations. This is gaslighting of the highest order, she stated, arguing that such actions insult the intelligence of the Guyanese people. The Forward Guyana movement also expressed alarm at a subsequent statement from the Guyana police force, which dismissed concerns about the integrity of the recount process in light of the video evidence. Walton-Desser pointed out that the police's reaction, rather than launching an investigation, contributes to a climate of doubt and suspicion surrounding the electoral process. The inviolability of ballot boxes is the cornerstone of free and fair elections, Walton-Desser emphasized, asserting that tampering with ballot boxes not only undermines the election but also silences the voice of the voter. She urged GECOM to uphold its duty to safeguard the electoral process, stating that any compromise undermines the democratic rights of the citizens. The movement condemned any attempts to justify or excuse misconduct in the electoral process, highlighting that such behavior perpetuates division and backwardness in the country. Walton Desser contrasted Guyana's electoral challenges with Jamaica's efficient election process, calling for a commitment to principles that transcend political convenience. In conclusion, the Forward Guyana movement urged both GECOM and the police force to treat the allegations with the seriousness they warrant. They called for transparency, accountability, and decisive action to restore trust in the electoral process, appealing to the international observer groups still present in Guyana to take note of how these issues are being handled. President Ali accuses opposition of playing games with democracy. President Dr. Irfan Ali has criticized the opposition's attempts to discredit the results of the September 1st regional and general elections, labeling their calls to annul the election results as nonsense and absolutely ridiculous. Speaking to the media outside the Guyana Elections Commission, GECOM, headquarters, where a recount of ballots is currently underway, President Ali expressed his support for the hard work of his party's representatives. Our workers, our election agents, have done a tremendous job. With hard work comes victory, 5 years of commitment to serving the people, he stated. The president condemned the opposition's actions, particularly those of the A Partnership for National Unity, APNU, led by Aubrey Norton, who have requested a forensic audit and the termination of the electoral process following their loss. You lose the elections, you ask for a recount. The recount shows you that you still lost the elections. Now what will you do? Ali questioned, emphasizing that the recount process has already confirmed the election results. He accused political actors of prioritizing power over the country's development, claiming, "The life of this country and the lives of its citizens are at stake. Look at what these people are doing, playing games. This is just playing games with the country's life, with people's lives, and with the electoral process." President Ali also reiterated that international observers accredited to monitor the elections deemed the process free and fair. When asked about any irregularities he may have personally observed, he responded negatively. Highlighting the importance of stability and investor confidence, President Ali affirmed his administration's commitment to safeguarding Guyana's democratic values. "We must ensure that our international investors are ready to invest, and that we demonstrate to the world that we are a credible democracy," he stated, reinforcing the need to maintain high levels of investor confidence as the country moves forward. Ministry of Amerindian Affairs responds to political misrepresentation regarding Surima Culture Group. The Ministry of Amerindian Affairs has issued a statement to address and clarify recent misrepresentations surrounding the Surima Culture Group's participation in the upcoming Culture Night celebrations. The ministry accused the Team Mohammed Party, led by Mr. Azruddin Mohammed, of politicizing the situation for their own gain. The Surima Culture Group is scheduled to perform on Friday, September 12th, and Saturday, September 13th, at the Amerindian Village, Sophia Exhibition Center compound. The ministry confirmed that the group was formally invited, fully sponsored, and accommodated for this event. However, due to unforeseen circumstances beyond the ministry's control, the launch of these events has been postponed to the following week. In their statement, the ministry explained that the decision to postpone was made in good faith, taking into account the group's prior engagement in an interfaith service, which they were also invited to attend. After the service, the group returned to Surima and is expected to return to Georgetown for the rescheduled activities. The ministry expressed disappointment that this matter has been distorted for political purposes, particularly by Mr. Mohammed. "We strongly condemn the gross mischaracterizations and the blatant disrespect shown by Mr. Mohammed and his party in their public commentary on this issue," the statement read. The ministry reaffirmed its commitment to preserving and promoting the rich cultural heritage and traditional way of life of indigenous peoples in Guyana. They emphasized that Heritage Month celebrations remain a national priority, serving as a platform for unity, pride, and cultural expression. In conclusion, the Ministry of Amerindian Affairs stated that it stands firmly by its actions and will not allow political opportunism to undermine its dedication to the indigenous peoples of Guyana. APNU calls for forensic audit and abortion of 2025 elections amid allegations of irregularities. Aubrey Norton, the presidential candidate and leader of the A Partnership for National Unity, APNU, has formally requested a forensic audit of the recent elections from the chairman of the Guyana Elections Commission, GECOM, retired Justice Claudette Singh. In his letter, which was shared with the media, Norton demanded that the entire 2025 electoral process be aborted, citing gross dereliction of duties and negligence by the presiding officers appointed by GECOM. Norton expressed concerns that the electoral integrity has been compromised, stating that the will of the Guyanese people is now in question. He highlighted several alleged failures, including presiding officers not signing the statements of poll at polling stations, election officers failing to adhere to the Representation of the People Act, inaccurate statements of poll provided to polling agents after ballot certification, incomplete SOPs for several ballot boxes. These irregularities were reportedly brought to GECOM's attention by the APNU's assistant agent for District 4, Subdistrict 4, in the presence of both local and international observers during the tabulation of results on September 2. Norton indicated that these issues formed part of the basis for the party's request for a recount of votes in Subdistrict 4 of District 4 and part of District 5. The recount process has reportedly revealed additional issues, including biased determinations of rejected ballots and GECOM's failure to announce the official stamp or 6-digit number on each ballot paper during the recount. Norton further claimed that serious questions have arisen regarding the integrity of the votes cast, citing allegations of tampering with ballot boxes. He referenced the recently released report of the European Union Observer Mission, which he said supports APNU's claims that the elections were neither free nor fair. The EU report noted that the PPP/C had an undue advantage of incumbency and highlighted a highly politicized media landscape with disproportionate coverage favoring the ruling party. As of now, the recount for District 4's Subdistrict 4 has concluded with no significant changes to the previously announced results. The People's Progressive Party/Civic, PPP/C, has been re-elected to office, securing the most votes in 8 of the 10 electoral districts, while the Win Party captured the highest number of votes in the remaining 2. The APNU has experienced a significant loss of support across the country, particularly in traditional strongholds. As the situation develops, the political landscape remains tense as both parties navigate the aftermath of the elections. President Ali dismisses APNU's call for forensic audit as absolute nonsense. President Irfan Ali has firmly rejected the A Partnership for National Unity, APNU's request for a forensic audit of the recent elections, labeling the call to quash the electoral results as absolute nonsense. The president made these remarks while visiting the recount of votes at the Guyana Elections Commission, GECOM, on Friday. Speaking to reporters after leaving the GECOM office, President Ali criticized APNU leader Aubrey Norton's letter to the commission, which called for the suspension of the electoral process. First of all, you lose the elections and you ask for a recount, and the recount shows that you still lost the elections. Now, what do? Ali questioned, emphasizing the importance of moving the country forward. He expressed concern over the implications of such actions, stating, "The life of this country is important, and the people continue to see who plays with the life of this country, who plays with the lives of the citizens, and who doesn't care about the citizens or the development of this country." Ali stressed that it is crucial to maintain national stability and investor confidence. "We have to keep this country intact and safe. We must demonstrate to the world that we are a credible democracy," he said, reiterating that the recent elections have shown high levels of investment confidence. The president also noted that all electoral observation bodies have declared the elections fair, and he personally did not observe any irregularities during the voting process. With the declared results from the 10 electoral districts confirming the People's Progressive Party, PPP's re-election with a larger majority, the final results will pave the way for the swearing-in of the president, once announced by the chief election officer. As the country awaits the final declaration, President Ali urged all parties to engage in constructive dialogue and focus on the nation's progress. Jagdeo labels opposition parties as sore losers. Following PPP/C's election victory, General Secretary of the People's Progressive Party Civic, PPP/C, Dr. Bharat Jagdeo, has criticized the country's opposition political parties as sore losers for their refusal to accept the results of the recent general and regional elections held on Monday. The PPP/C achieved a decisive victory, securing 242,498 votes according to the results declared by returning officers across the various voting districts. In contrast, opposition parties, including the A Partnership for National Unity, APNU, and the We Invest in Nationhood, WIN, have rejected the results, claiming electoral irregularities. Jagdeo accused these parties of spreading misinformation and noted that both APNU and WIN have requested recounts in specific areas. The Guyana Elections Commission, GECOM, has approved recount requests from APNU for Subdistrict 4 of Region 4, which has already been completed, and a section of Region 5, where the recount is currently underway. WIN, however, did not meet the necessary requirements for their recount requests to be approved. Despite the ongoing recount, Jagdeo highlighted that no significant changes to the election results have emerged thus far. He dismissed APNU's calls to abort the 2025 electoral process and conduct fresh elections, stating, "Why would anyone even pay attention to such a stupid call?" He pointed out that the elections were conducted fairly, as confirmed by international observer groups, and emphasized that all statements of poll SOPs are publicly accessible on GECOM's website. With only 77 ballot boxes remaining to be recounted, Jagdeo expressed confidence that the process would conclude soon, leading to the final declaration of the results by GECOM. Following this, President Dr. Irfan Ali is expected to be sworn in, solidifying the PPP/C's position in government. GECOM chair affirms right to appeal election results following APNU request. Justice Redid Claudette Singh, chair of the Guyana Elections Commission, GECOM, has informed Aubrey Norton, leader of the People's National Congress, PNC-led APNU coalition, that any party dissatisfied with the recent election outcomes retains the right to appeal to the High Court. This statement comes in response to Norton's request to annul the election results and halt the ongoing recount process, citing concerns about the integrity of the elections. In her letter to Norton, Justice Singh emphasized GECOM's commitment to conducting elections in a free, fair, and transparent manner, while strictly adhering to Guyanese law. She reassured that the Commission is dedicated to ensuring that the will of the electorate is accurately reflected in the final results. Once the recounts are completed and the Chief Elections Officer, CEO, presents the final results to the Commission, any parties aggrieved by the outcome will have the right to file an election petition to the High Court, in accordance with Article 163 of the Constitution, Singh stated. Norton has called for a forensic audit of the electoral process or a complete annulment, followed by fresh elections. However, Singh reiterated the constitutional provisions, noting that Article 163 grants the High Court exclusive jurisdiction to determine whether the elections were lawfully conducted or if the results were affected by any lawful act or omission. The election results, as declared in all 10 electoral districts, indicate that the PPP emerged victorious, with APNU finishing third behind the newcomer WIN party. The PPP reportedly received 46,000 more votes than the combined total of the other 5 parties in the race. As the political landscape continues to evolve, GECOM urges all stakeholders to respect the established legal and procedural mechanisms and to allow the recount process to conclude before pursuing further action.